Hello everyone. I told you on my last video that I was probably going to have an unboxing today, and so I couldn't resist it because I was waiting very impatiently, and it did come. So I'm not going to try to be suspenseful because there's no point. It's down there in the subscription until YouTube gets on board with my idea to let us have an unveiling topic subject line. There's no point. So what I have here, and I'm going to take that plastic wrap off, is the Halloween Oracle card system, and this is by Stacy DeMarco. Let me take this off because it's quite oh, that about ripped my nail, and I'm not good with. Not that there's any way in which it's good to rip your nail, but like pulling it up from the nail bed. Okay. All right, here we go. You can see how the details are kind of, there's some satin finish on the box. I mean, this is a Blue Angel box. This is a Blue Angel deck, and so Blue Angels do boxes amazingly. There's just no way around it. They're fantastic. So this is by Stacy DeMarco, and it says, "Lifting the veil between the worlds every night." So yes, this is a Halloween deck, but it really isn't meant to be just used on Halloween, although certainly, and I do apologize, my hair is kind of crazy. I went to bed with it wet and haven't done anything to it. I love this image. Now, I will say, because I've seen this, I want to say that I saw this first on Divinatory, her YouTube channel. I'll put a link to it below. I'll find it and put a link to it. That's the first place I saw it, and I commented on hers that I really wish that the backing was different, and this is what I wish the backing was, because I think that's amazing, and so I wish that they would have used that. But anyways, you can't have everything you want. But I'll show you what the backings are. Because now the part of the thing that I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm really excited. See how the backs are? They're with little bats and brooms and ghosts and little jack-o'-lanterns, which is cute, but the deck itself isn't cute. The deck itself, I think, is quite deep and quite insightful, and so I just really do look at it. I mean, just look at that. That would have made an amazing back to the deck. So I do, that's my only thing that I have to say, so that I know about. And look at the inside of the box. Look at it. And I know, like, for the Raven's Prophecy Tarot that I have coming due to a fantastically wonderful client who didn't even know I had ordered this and wanted that deck. I know that most people do not like the orange on that particular deck. I probably will still trim it and leave the bottom. But just in terms of using these together, and that other one is not a Halloween deck, but I still think they might work well together. We'll see. I love this. So yeah, so that's my only thing right at this moment. That's the only thing that I would change. But let me just say this. Because you know I can't ever just go right into something. Let me say this, that I love Halloween. And I told you in another video that my son absolutely loved Halloween. My daughter loved Halloween. We are big Halloween. I have many, many pictures of me dressed up on things even as an adult. I have fantastic memories of Halloween. From where I live, my grandparents, my mother's parents, lived about an hour and a half away in a little fishing village, kind of little fishing town right off of a lake, and we spent every weekend there. We spent weeks at a time there. We lived there for a while. All of my childhood memories up until my grandfather passed when I was 8 or 9, everything that I remember for the most part is spent in that little town. My mother has 9 children in her family. I have 7 in mine. I have 6 brothers and sisters. She had 9. So it was a very big family. And my grandfather was truly the most amazing man that I know. All my sense of that fatherly, grandfatherly energy is all from him, and it's just amazing. And I have amazing memories of him. And I just, really my childhood before my grandfather passed, all those memories really do feel like Norman Rockwell. And it's not even an exaggerate. I think I have a blog post, not in my Truth and Story, but for my personal blog, I think I did a post about that, because it wasn't even sort of happy memories that you've kind of turned into that. Like, it really was that sort of Norman Rockwell small town. We so tons of cousins and aunts and uncles around, making applesauce. The cousins taking turns, turning the ice cream to make banana ice cream, because that was Grandpa's favorite. Turning the churning on the ice, handle in the old days. Turning the handle on the ice cream maker, getting earthworms for my grandpa and my uncles to take out on the boat and get fish and bring fish back, and cleaning it and having fish festivals where my grandma, there'd be this like sort of line of people, shuttling fudge and these little, I don't know what I can't remember what they're called. I've made them before, but they have basically like waffle irons that you would dip in a really thin batter, and then it was like shaped like a flower. There was a couple different shapes. I had a set somewhere and I lost them over the years, but you would dip them in this really thin batter and then dip them real quickly into hot oil, and they would kind of pull apart, and you dust them with powdered sugar and cookies. Just all being sent to the festival. We'd be shuttling them back and forth, the beach and swimming out to Table Rock and the lighthouse. I mean, it really was that sort of Norman Rockwell experience. And for me, that's my big memories of Halloween, are the Halloween there. And just, that was a very small community. So it was just, up and down the streets and coming back. And I have a very strong memory of coming back on Halloween one time. And my grandfather, who was quite, funny, and he liked to do tricks and stuff like that, and he loved his grandchildren to this amazing degree. And he had take his false teeth out and had put them through the bushes and was clacking them at us when we came in. So I just have, for me, Halloween is just all wrapped up in that sort of good memories, very good memories. So I just love Halloween, but I also feel, there is a great deal of power behind Halloween. My point being, yes, so there's also, when you think about Samhain, and you think about All Hallows Eve, and you think about the thinning of the veil, and things being thinner. And so for someone who already the veil is thin, that's just a really powerful time period. And I've always recognized that. And so what I loved about what I saw about this deck is that it seems to have, she seems to have captured the power of the time, as well as paid respects to the kitschiness or the wonderful cheese. There is bad cheese factor, because I have issues with decks that go cheesy, but there is also that wonderful kitsch kind of idea where and I don't think, a lot of times people say with, Christmas and Halloween that we've sort of, ruined these days by turning them into commercialized, which I agree to a degree, certainly the materialistic aspects that go kind of crazy. But I love Christmas, and I love Halloween, and I love birthdays. I do really love, I think that's one of the things that, Michael taught me, because as an early mother, and then that continued obviously with my daughter Katie, and as well, is that, every day is a wonderful day to celebrate life, but the big days were even bigger, because you just realize the fragility of life. And so those days just, you know, let's just go all out. You know, we're all going to get dressed up on Halloween. You know, we are all, you know, we are going to go with the Santa Claus myth and believe in Santa Claus as long as we can, and tooth fairies. And yeah, I was one of those moms. Anyways, what I really, again, and you're used to my rambling. If you're here, it's because you don't mind my rambling. So, I don't think that takes away from the power of Samhain. I think it adds to it in the right spirit. Can it be taken too far? Of course. Can things be over commercialized? Of course. But this, I think, acknowledges that deepness, and at the same time allows that fun cheese factor, wondrous feeling of Halloween to also be a part of it. So that's what really drew me to this. So here's the guidebook again. I don't know if I'm going to switch or not. Truthfully, I'm going to try to do it this way, just so I don't have to switch, because I think I have my lights figured out. And if I do, I'm going to go get that in a little bit. If I do, because I think I found kind of a not to do it yourself, but kind of a workaround. And if it works out, I will let you know. For those out there that do videos and would like some better lighting for not so horribly cheap or expensive. But anyways, so this is, let's see here what we got. This deck is dedicated to all those who still love to play on All Hallows Eve. May the jack-o'-lanterns burn brightly for you. I just love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. So the book is not super long. You can see it's quite thin, actually. It goes, that's advertising. So the actual guidebook is 73 pages. And can we just... It's got a zombie card. I am a zombie freak. My keychain, my daughter got me, says, now I've seen it 5 million times, says keep calm and kill zombies or something like that. People look at me so strangely in the stores, you know, I kind of set it down. Apparently I don't look like somebody who has keep calm and kill zombies on her keychain, but I do. I also have many, many books about zombies and zombie apocalypses, and I also have guidebooks on how to survive the zombie apocalypse. So anyways, I'm so excited about that particular card. Back to the details. It is, again, I just lost it, 73 pages long. There is an introduction, which I kind of wish, obviously I'm just looking at it, but it's only a couple pages long, and there's so much history to Samhain and Halloween. I really kind of wish there was more. But it talks about people releasing their inner monster. She grew up in Australia. And I did see this someplace, and so I wanted to share this. She says, death is in some ways the last taboo in our Western society. We do not experience death as we used to. We have hospitals where people pass. We don't prepare and honor dead bodies within families as we used to, and most people do not pass at home. We tend to fear most of the things we don't know about. Halloween is a time when we can raise the issue of death. We can laugh at it, we can speak more freely of those who have passed, and we can examine our fears of the darker things. This is a positive thing. Although I certainly believe its increasing popularity has something to do with the sugar hit of all those yummy sweets, Halloween, which has often been seen as mainly an American holiday, actually has ancient pagan origins that most people know little about. So then she goes into, and I think that's fantastic. So she goes a little bit into the Celtic winter festival of Samhain, which marks the beginning of the colder season and the process where Earth begins to retreat and to die. And that's why the central theme of this holiday is essentially death. But when you look at it from a more positive perspective, it can also be seen as the quiet beginning of life, because it's all that cycle. You know, when one thing ends, another thing begins. So death is a part of life and the step before renewal. Having a celebration about death that treats it lightly and with laughter helps us see that there is little to fear. By carving pumpkins, we scare away the nasty spirits while acknowledging the darkness too. By delving into midnight, we see the dawn more clearly. So then it goes into some other little traditions and the thinness of the veil, and all that kind of thing that is quite beautiful. Anyways, I wish there was more of this, because I love that kind of I've done a lot of actual study into Halloween and Samhain, because again, for me, it always has sort of a beyond just the Halloweeny, but that thin veil aspect has always been quite strong for me. And so, no matter what you choose, no matter when you choose to celebrate this daring, deathly festival, because she does talk about how the hemispheres change these things about when people celebrate it. But no matter when you choose to celebrate this daring, deathly festival, enjoy yourself and know that some of the rituals and symbols of the scariest of all nights are very old. Thousands of people before you for thousands of years have carried the torches at night under the moon, got a fright in the local burial grounds, played tricks on their friends, and asked the spirits for a glimpse of their future. So I just think that I'm really excited about this deck, if you can't tell. And actually, Bart, I wish I don't know if there's a way you can do that or not, but he showed me some absolutely beautiful pictures on Instagram that he had taken. I would assume these were in Poland, but I just want to make sure I get what he called it correctly. Whoops. Which again, I should have prepared for, but I didn't. How do I get it? So, there we go. Keep going back. I always say to myself, I can cut this out if I need to. All right, here we go. Okay, so All Saints, yeah. So for All Saints night, he had taken some absolutely gorgeous photographs because they light like candles. I hope he doesn't get mad. I'm not going to show them very up close, but anyways, they have these because he had in one of his Instagram pictures he had taken used some grave candles or grave lanterns. There's a name for it. Oh, if I try to pronounce it, he'll laugh at me. What did they call them? Oh, it's in another thing. Anyways, so he showed me some pictures of them and how they lit them all, and it's just amazing. I wish that we did a little bit more of that. I would love to attend something that close by here in the States. But anyways, I'm so excited because of that. I think there's so much power here as well as so much joy. And my family is one who does, you know, that idea of being able to laugh. You know, we would be considered irreverent people in a way. You know, even, you know, within funerals and stuff, we are ones to crack jokes that, you know, the person who might have passed would have found hilarious. Like, we have to be able to understand the seriousness as well as the normality of death. And that's something, you know, because I have talked about how, you know, coming to terms with death has been a lifelong process for me with my son. And some of that is, you know, has been that study of how much the Western society has really separated death away as something that is just such a other thing instead of really being part of the process, part of the life cycle. And so that it adds, not that it's ever going to be easy to be the person left behind or even to be the person who may know that they're dying. But if there wasn't so much separation between life and death and so much, you know, there's other cultures and where it is just part of the normal cycle. And so there's then less stress along those time periods, I believe. So anyways, I'm just excited about this deck. And I do think that this is one of those decks that while, yes, it's fun to pull this out at Halloween, I don't think it's relegated to Halloween. So here we have, this is Ancestors. Oh, I've got to sort out the glasses situation. The lore and legacy of our DNA. So there's a beautiful, almost like tree of life with DNA strands in it. Here we have the apple, risk and reward. Kind of brings up Snow Whitey feel. Is it a risk or is it a reward? Bobbing for apples. Barmbrack, which is sweetness and synergy. I'll have to look that one up. I'm assuming that that is some sort of a Halloweeny treat that I'm not aware of. The black cat, fortune meets opportunity. I love this. It doesn't have it as unlucky. I had, we had cat, Michael's favorite cat, and his name, he was a black cat and his name was Lucky because he was not unlucky. He was the luckiest cat I knew. He had so many lives. It was crazy. Here we have the cauldron, synergy and healing. Here we have dawn, the light after the darkness. I mean, look at that card. That's just beautiful. I'm so excited about this deck. Death, the eternal cycle begins here. This is, I would guess, a death's head moth. But I love that. It is just the beginning of the cycle and the ending of the cycle. It's both. Eternal love. Love is love is love, and it transcends physical death. 2 skeletons there. Michael would have loved that. Forgiveness, reducing the burden. I mean, these are stunning cards. They really are. Ghost. This is about regret. I quite like this because you think about ghosts and you think about, you know, I'm not going to go into discussion about ghosts, but you think about ghosts just in terms of a lot of times you're either seeing replayings of sort of a psychic movie that gets made and just keeps replaying. There's really nothing there, but that's because something deep regretful or something stays behind because, you know, if you believe, however you believe it, there is a sense of regret about ghosts, like somebody that maybe just hasn't you know, come to terms with everything and hasn't quite let go of everything. So I think that's a really poignant card to have for ghost. Graveyard, unnecessary fear. So yeah. This is hearth or hearth, happiness in our hearts and home. But I love it. Look at, there's like a gargoyle, so it's kind of creepy. But then we have the, you know, homely feeling of the hearth and home and the bread and the candles. So I just love that juxtaposition of both of those. They're a little sticky because they're fresh. Invisibility, and the keyword is authenticity. I mean, how interesting is that? I can't wait to read the guidebook. Although truthfully, so far, I don't, you know, you can definitely just get what you need to. Jack-o'-lantern protection, because that's what they were for, is to protect you from bad spirits. So I think that is amazing. Look at this one, joy, rejoicing in the present. And that is one of the things that death teaches you. And so, yeah, love it. And plus, look how Halloween-y, how fall and autumny that is. And I don't know what that noise is. Look at Lady de los Muertos, and I'm sure I'm slaughtering that. Except, I don't even know what that is. Must be a motorcycle. Acceptance and equality. I love motorcycles, but that was obnoxious. Okay, Lady de los Muertos, acceptance and equality. Beautiful. The lamp for remembrance. I love this, and that's kind of, you know, what Bart was showing those pictures, you know, I think on All Saints, where you light those candles for remembrances. That's definitely something that I do. Here we have midnight, the most magical hour of all. She looks very magical. That's beautiful. I love the clock. Mummy for change. I thought that was quite interesting. And look at the big moon up overhead. Oh, look at this. Night song, hidden talents. Look at that. Michael would have loved this deck. He would have loved this deck. Yeah, he would have loved this deck. Owl, wise seeing, wise action. Here we have scrying for intuition, having the magic ball. Love it. Skeleton for strength. I love this. I love, 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 love this. I remember one time, and I think, and I do apologize. I know I'm talking a lot about Michael in this season. It's kind of pulled up, and it's a very massive part of my journey at the moment is dealing with those things. So I hope you have patience with it. But I remember one time when we realized, you know, your lungs actually hold your spine up. which I didn't realize. So when you have a weaker lung, which Michael had a quite weak side, your spine can start to collapse. And so we went to go and see what we could do about that. But it was amazing because we went to this bigger hospital out of town, and they did this type of scan or x-ray that when they got done compiling it all, we went into the office and they showed like a 3D, like we could literally just kind of zip around and see like his whole skeleton system, almost like, you know, we're kind of driving through the whole thing and seeing it all in 3D. And it was actually one of the most powerful experiences. I mean, we could really see this bend in the spine and the deformities that he had in his rib cage, but at the same time, so at the same time as a mother, it was like, you know that those things are there, but to actually see it like in 3D like that was kind of overwhelming. But at the same exact moment of feeling that, oh, was also an overwhelming sense of awe, because the body's strength to try to combat and adjust for things that are problems is stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And so when I think of Michael's bowed spine and twisting spine as he got older, I think of strength. I have an actual black and white photograph of him that I did just from the back, and it's one of my favorite images for that idea of strength, because the body and the skeletal system and the way that it attempts to be beautifully imperfect is amazing. So this card is amazing to me. And then it comes into some different skulls. So here we have the skull of darkness, blind spots. We have the skull of flowers, creating through the ashes. I mean, that's so beautiful. Skull of light for illumination. Skull of stars for infinite possibilities. Spider for community and web weaving. I'm not fond of spiders, but that is beautiful. And then here we get a little bit of the kitschy factor. We have trick or treat, mischief, and play, because there is that you need to have that sense of play as well. Look at this, the underworld with the pomegranates, where all things pause and begin again. So wonderful. And then we get some creepy types of figures. For like this one is vampire, emotional intelligence, and I do think of vampires very swordsy. You know, even from Tarot of the Vampires, but even before that, you just think of vampires as sort of the intelligent. Ooh, look at this, the veil, which stands for the future. It's like she's a seer or something, a blind seer, closing her eyes so that she can really see the future. Oh, look at the werewolf, exploring wildness. I always have that a conversation with friends, like if you were going to be one of the monsters, like would you be that sort of earthy, instinctual werewolf, or would you go for that colder, intellectual vampire? I love that. Winter, the sacredness of pausing. I mean, really, look how beautiful that is. I'm almost done. Here we have the witch, the earthly, oh, my eyes are getting so bad. The earthly weaver of worlds. I thought I said where. I'm like, what? The earthly and look at, she even kind of looks green, because I'm going to try so hard not to start singing here, but I am a huge fan of the book Wicked. I'm a huge fan of the soundtrack, and I have seen it also on Broadway. And so I love Alphaba Green, and I love Wicked because it comes from her perspective, and it's that same idea of taking something that we don't understand and demonizing it. So I love that. Even though she's not technically green, you get that green cast to her. Love it. The witch, the earthly weaver of the worlds. And then we have zombie, which is about control, which is interesting. I'll be interested to read that, but I love all the blue tones on there. So anyway, so I did look up what this barmbrack is, and I think I'm going to try to make some this year, because it is sort of almost like a divination bread. Like you cook things into it, and then as you cut it up, I have to look more thoroughly into it, but I was quite interested in that, and I think I'm definitely going to take a peek at that. Now I did want to really quickly, you know, I kind of showed you a little bit, obviously, how the guidebook was and read a little bit of it. So each of the cards, you get sort of a black and white representation. You get the name of the card with the little, keyword part that was on the card itself. And then you get like a poem or a little rhyme that goes with it. So let's just take, let's just take this one because I like this one. So here, well, I like them all. The lamp, which is about remembrance. And so you go to look up the, it is alphabetical. They're not numbered. The cards are not numbered, but they're alphabetical in, to the name. So unlike there's a couple decks that I don't understand why that wasn't the case. But so here we have the lamp. We have the picture, the lamp, remembrance. I light a single candle within a lamp for you, a single flame in the darkness that reflects my heart so true. And then here's what they give you. Whilst it is a tradition to carve a jack-o'-lantern to scare away the spirits, it is an older tradition still to light a candle or a lamp on Halloween night and leave it at the window as a loving guide home for those who have passed, both as a symbol of remembrance and also as a kind of leaving the lights on for those who may wish to come home. The lamp was left to illuminate the night and perhaps even the sadness that was felt because of the passing. This card reminds us that it is a positive thing to remember those who have passed by celebrating their life rather than mourning their death. For those with whom we did not have an easy relationship, or even those we did not like, leave us with valuable lessons. Sometimes we learn more from our nemesis than we do from our friends, and so the darkness can illuminate our strengths and our true values so that we can live them more clearly and fully. So that's what you have. So you get a good couple paragraphs for each of the skeleton. On the outside is flesh, on the inside is bone. There is strength and vulnerability and power we've grown. Scrying, soften your eyes, begin the trance. Whole worlds are open, begin the dance. I just love these little poem bits. For night song with that beautiful robin on it. A ruby red bird singing in the darkness full of sound, like an unopened present, ribbon still bound. I love them. I love these little things here for sure. The little ghost, like smoke rising from the ashes, a mist from the sea. The dead they are watching, they have come to haunt me. Can you just not love it? I just love it. Okay, so it does have a couple spreads. It talks about the 1-card spread, and then it talks about the 3-card. It talks about the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, and so that 3, number 3 being quite powerful. And so it has a 3-card spread where it has the heart of the issue, a challenge, and a solution. And then it has a very protective, it says, an illuminating spread called the jack-o'-lantern, because it kind of looks like, the eyes and the nose kind of looks like a jank-o'-lantern. I can't talk. It looks like a jack-o'-lantern. So it has those 3. It talks about dedicating the cards, and then it goes into the cards themselves through to the end. So it's not a long guidebook, but I do feel like, from what I've seen, the images are so powerful, and I quite love. So sometimes I love the images, but then the titles and the keywords just don't really. Or to me, this just seems so fantastic. I am really, really, really loving this deck. I think it's going to be amazing. I do not think it's going to be one of those things that you can only use at Halloween. I think the energy of it is certainly fall and winter, but I think you can use this at any time you want, because it's stunning. I'm so excited about it. So I will stop rambling though, so that we can close this off. Again, there's the back. But you see what I'm talking about? The cards, other than the trick or treat card and maybe the jack-o'-lantern, which was a protective thing, the cards are so powerful that it does, to me, doesn't quite mesh with the back. again, I don't mind it. I don't mind the kitschiness because I like that nod, but I just feel like this is so powerful of a deck that I would have liked the background to have been like one of those skulls or something like that. But that's my only negative thing that I can say because I'm loving this. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm quite looking forward to working with this particular deck greatly. So have a lovely day.